losing 2 draft picks, including a first-round pick, it's worth it for the Dolphins. And look at the risk reward, right? The reward for what Miami did in skirting the rules and trying to attract and flirt with Tom Brady to get Sean Payton to Miami. The reward of getting both the best quarterback in the NFL, currently right now in Tom Brady, and one of the best offensive minds and overall one of the best head coaches in the game, and Sean Payton, getting them to your team is worth the risk of what the punishment will be, which is what we saw of a first and a third round pick, the Dolphins losing. Because guess what? If they were able, I know they didn't, if they though were able to land Brady and land Sean Payton in Miami, the Dolphins next year, or this upcoming year, I guess, would be Super Bowl contenders. Even in the loaded AFC, the Broncos and the Bills and the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Bengals all loading up. The Dolphins with Sean Payton and Tom Brady would be Super Bowl contenders this upcoming year if they were able to land those 2 gentlemen. And that's why the risk is worth the reward. Because anytime, in my opinion, you can turn a team into a Super Bowl contender overnight, that's worth the risk of getting caught and not getting the guy anyway. It's worth losing a first-round pick. I would have done it again if I was the Dolphins. Maybe execute a little bit better. Maybe make the pitch for Tom Brady or to Tom Brady and Sean Payton a little bit more enticing. But I think the Dolphins did the right thing. You go for broke. You try to get the best of the best on your team. If you got to skirt some rules, so be it. They're laughing to the bank if they were able to get those 2 guys on their roster and losing a first-round pick. That's no problem. You're still a Super Bowl contender. The risk was worth the reward. And this is a big risk, too, because you look at it, they swung and missed. And now, they could truly hurt their franchise moving forward. Because as we know, going into this year, it is a make or break season for Tua Tagovailoa. Hot take there, right? If he struggles, the Dolphins are going to ship him out of town. If he plays well, they'll keep him around it and maybe finally, allow him to be the franchise quarterback they thought he was going to be and actually believe in him for the first time in 3 years. But this is basically Tua's Miami Dolphins career on the line this season. And now losing that pick is detrimental because having 2 first-round picks like the Dolphins used to have in next year's draft, their own and the one from the 49ers back in the Trey Lance deal, that would have helped them move on up to get a quarterback if they so desire to draft one next year if Tua stinks. Now, if they decide to move on from Tua, they have 1 or 2 options. Trade for a quarterback or draft a quarterback. Either way, having 2 first-round picks would have been a huge boost, would have been a huge way for the Dolphins to land the quarterback they want next year if it's not Tua. So losing one of those first-round picks is costly. Now having just 1 is not as sexy, it's not as enticing as having 2, especially when you look at the Dolphins. I mean, barring catastrophe, barring Tua melting down or just getting hurt and this team suffering, catastrophic injuries and just completely going under, they're not going to have a top 5 pick or a top 10 pick. So that pick they're going to, have is not going to be very high. And the ones that they, before they lost their first round pick, they'd have to, use both to kind of trade up again to entice a team to either trade back and allow the Dolphins to move up to get their quarterback or give them 2 first round picks in order to give a team the, to trade for their quarterback. So having 2 first round picks was huge for the Dolphins next season in order to acquire the quarterback they want if it's not going to be Tua. And losing 1 is costly. But for a quarterback of Brady's status, it's worth the move. Tom Brady last year led the NFL in every statistical category. Passing yards, passing touchdowns, completions, attempts. I know he literally just turned 45 yesterday. The guy doesn't age. We could talk about Father Time is undefeated. And you know what? He is. But right now when it comes to Tom Brady, he's still not slowing down. Father Time might win at 47, at 48, maybe even 46. But at least heading into this year, Tom Brady's still strong. He's still looking good.